And you're live.
Yeah, because that's what we do sometimes, isn't it?
It is what we do sometimes.
I'm so excited for today. I really am. Debbie Saviano captured my heart at a few different events. And the one I think about the most is when I was with her at, why am I blanking on her name? Suvi Zimmerman's event. And that I think I was signing Freak Shell and Hair at the Earth there or something. And she was so super sweet. And Stacey Schieffelin, I've talked to and around and near her and heard 1.5 billion things about her all over the time. But I think this is the first real chance to chat.
Your mom's here already.
Hey, Mom. So
are you so excited?
Are you jazzed about this one?
Am I? Yes. You know I am.
Backpack Show.
No, you got to warn me, or else banners are going to be up during your fancy intro.
You and your banners. I know.
Happy third Monday of the week. Every day is Monday.
It's so fun.
My aunt says hello. Yeah, somebody was like, "Hey, it's Friday." I was like, "It's what? What difference does it make?" Chip says hello.
Hey, Chip. Oh, the whole gang's here. Hey, Dad.
Everybody turned up for Stacey and Debbie, so
I know, and I'm already so jazzed. So jazzed. So, we're going to bring them both on at the same time. I mean, we can't, what are we going to do? Half of women's leadership?
Well, I love that they help women who are they're in transition, or women entrepreneurs, women in careers, just helping women in the workplace. So love everything about it. Carol says hello.
There are so many great things going on. Let's bring the ladies right out because we got to. So Debbie Saviano, Stacey Schieffelin, thank you so much for being part of the show.
Hello. Thank you. We're so excited to be here. Very honored to be in your company, you two.
Oh, shucks, someone might say. So
one of us anyway.
At least one of us would say, oh, shucks. So how did this start? Because and I'm never that guy. I hate like those how did you get started kind of questions.
You're not. I was shocked.
This one's different because you're like a super group. Like this is like 3 really successful rock bands said, let's make a third rock band.
Right. So that's the thing. So you've already built these really successful businesses. Deb, you were in academia. Stacey, you had this like cosmetics empire. And then you're like, you know what we should do?
More things.
Help other women. With Linda McMahon from WWE fame, let's get her in the mix and help women.
Yeah.
Instead of just resting on your laurels. So I think that in and of itself is amazing.
But it's funny. Go ahead, because think about it. Stacey used to live in Connecticut, but now she's in Florida. I'm in Texas. Linda's up in Connecticut and DC. And so with the power of social media, that's how we came together. But Stacey, why don't you tell? Because you always do such a good job of talking about how we came together and the friendships. Because it really came because you were the conduit.
It's all about relationships and friendships. And I was a friend like Chris. As soon as he met Debbie at an event, he fell in love with Debbie Saviano. A same exact thing happened to me. I was at an event in Pennsylvania. 500 women in the room. She was a keynote speaker. She was there to talk about social media. This was 6 years ago. Her specialty was LinkedIn, but she really is the jack of all trades. She knows all things social. So Debbie was on the stage. They gave her 45 minutes. There was a Q&A after. I was too nervous to ask her any questions. So afterwards, you know how you do. You walk up to somebody and you're hoping you get a second with them. And what was so great about Debbie is she didn't speak over our heads. Her whole speech was about LinkedIn and how we needed to be connected and engaged, and we don't use social media platforms, and especially that golden Rolodex, which is LinkedIn, we're missing the boat. So I met Debbie at this event. After I sat into a breakout session, I needed more of Debbie. I went for another hour, sat, learned so much more, bought her program at the end. I was enthralled. It was like $149 back in 6 years ago. It was like so cheap, but she gets paid $1,500 to $5,000 to do people's LinkedIn and to stay on top of their LinkedIn for a year and help them through everything. So I was like, I'm in.
Like a ghostwriter for LinkedIn? They have those?
Oh, she does all CEOs and C-suites of Fortune 100 and Fortune 500.
Yeah, but then people meet you and they're like, "Oh, you're so smart because I see your post on LinkedIn," and you're like, "Dur, dur, dur."
Well, where do I go now?
Because Debbie's so smart, right?
Yeah.
They always say your resume is the first piece of fiction you ever do. But when Debbie writes it about you, she does so much research that she knows everything that's authentic and true about who you are, so that when people do meet you, Carrie, you're right. It is everything you say. It's very transparent. And I love that. So she did my LinkedIn. The next thing I knew is I was saying, oh my gosh, you've got to come to HSN. You've got to come to, so we're on 8 networks in 28 countries selling beauty products. I go on with my hair and rollers and no makeup. And for 25 years, I've been live TV all over the world. And
Stacey for the kids, HSN.
Yes.
Home Shopping Network.
What is it? Home Shopping
To
Network.
buy things at home, you had to watch TV and
That's
have a phone.
That's right.
Ask your parents.
People, like when I did my TEDx speech, they're like, what made you be a pioneer 25 years ago and talk about being on television? I said, I wanted to share a story with women that we all have the same blueprint. We all start with our inner and outer beauty. We just need to enhance it. So that's what took me to television. I called Debbie. I said, Debbie, you got to be one of my girlfriends on my show. You come on, you have no makeup on. We do a before and after. She goes, ho, 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 just a minute. She goes, I don't know how I feel about the whole world. The whole world seeing me. I said, you'll be fine. You'll be great. Don't worry. Come on. So she and her girlfriend come on. They do the show. Afterwards, as you do, when you have like-minded, like-hearted people, the lights come off down in the studio. We're sitting in pitch dark at my sales position, my table where my host and I usually sit. And I said, girl, sit down. We got to talk. I said, we've got to do something together. We've got to do something together. And she goes, well, you don't have to ask me twice. I said, no. We're going to leave the studio. The show's going to be over. I'm never going to hear from you again. Like most people that say, yeah, they're going to do something. The next day, Debbie Saviano calls me and she goes, so what's this thing we're going to do? And I'm like, we're going to empower women to lead, lift, and launch them in their businesses, in their life, in their communities, yada, yada. She goes, I love the concept I'm in. I'm like, well, damn, that was an easy sell. It's so easy. The next thing you know, she goes, well, we should ask people's opinion about what they think about this. So we ask our husbands. She asked Sweet Phil. I asked my darling David. The guys are like, oh man, that sounds great. But Dave goes, you guys are going to pick up and start running. You need to put something on paper first.
Now, anyone who knows us knows that once we get going somewhere, it's like a herd of animals or a herd of horses. It's hard to stop it. So David has to go back. For sure. But my sweet David, being Harvard graduate, he won't brag on himself, but I get to, which is great. He said somebody had to go. But he sat there and said, we need an executive summary. You need a business plan. Phil, educator with his wife for decades, say, yeah, you guys need to condense this. You need to put it together.
Who is like, you need to go into the wrestling world and find someone.
And that's exactly what David said. He goes, and now you have to ask a bestie who will give you the gut honest truth about this idea and see if it has wings. So I call up Linda McMahon, who David and I had known Linda and Vince for 20 years, lived in Connecticut with them, helped her run her campaigns when she was in the Senate, all this. I said, you got to meet my new friend, Debbie. She goes, oh my God, I can't wait. I said, I need to get on your calendar. She goes, great. Talk to the front office. They'll put you on the calendar. I'm like, look, I just need 15 minutes. She goes, great.
Okay, let me interrupt for a second. Anyone who knows you, Stacey, knows it's not going to be a darn 15 minutes. Please. It's 15 minutes.
And I only have 8 minutes to pitch a product on TV, but this is longer because this was the beginning of all of it. We sit down with Linda McMahon in her offices in Connecticut. 15 minutes we got. It's all solid. 4 hours later, we're sitting there breaking open a bottle of champagne, had some bubbly, and she said, not only do I love this idea, I'm in, and I want to be a partner. So the three of us came together, like you do. You share your great news with your girlfriends. She started sharing it. Debbie shared it. I shared it. The next thing you knew, we were in the event business. We did a couple of years of those, and I'll tell you what, right now, we can sit and talk to people all day long, but unless we take them by the hand and carry people through the process, it's hard to stay focused and dedicated to the mission. So that's when Debbie said, we really need to bring together other like-minded women like ourselves who are experts, attorneys like you, Carrie, with MBAs like you, Carrie, with everything that Carrie's got. Then we need an insurance company, we need a finance company, we need a financier, we need venture capital women. And so we have this conglomerate of women now leading and lifting all these women. And we launch a few of their products on our shopping channels. And Debbie spreads the word every time one of our products are online on a television station like HSN. She gets the message out there, and thousands of people we get new to watch. So we kind of know our space, but I'll let you take it from there. And I'm sorry
no, people love this. Look, everybody loves Debbie. Everybody loves Diane.
Talking to Diane a few times, and she's a
Paul
sweetheart.
likes the golden Rolodex. John is like, what? Linda McMahon.
Kip is pointing out the obvious. Kip Meacham points out the obvious.
I'm watching the screen and the song is coming to mind. One of these things is not like the other. Loving this episode.
Last night, Linda and Stacey and I were on the phone, as we do. We're just talking and chatting and everything. And she said, Chris, that she was so sorry that she couldn't be on today, but she's got some major meetings and things that she's doing. So, but she did say to send her love and how much, because she feels like she knows you too. And Carrie, we were talking about you last night and bragging about the whole thing.
Of course, we were.
Well, I have a wrestling identity. I used to be in independent films, and they would do like wrestling spoofs, and my identity was the Law. Because I was like, look, you guys, I'm studying for the bar, so I'll sit in the hallway, like in my suit with my bar review book, and when you need me, I'll come in. That was what I did.
So perfect.
Yep.
But she's here in spirit. She's here.
I was super serious about the bar. You don't need an A on the bar exam, but I was going to get one.
Of course you were.
Yeah.
The process has changed a little bit in the land of COVID, but you're still out there doing the same kind of work. And what you've delivered is a little different, because part of it is people who need to get an actual physical product onto the show. And that's interesting. But then you've really kind of branched out and come up with other ways that you can keep doing that lifting. I want to hear a little bit about that. Talk to me about that.
Well, our whole thing is, and I'll talk 2 seconds. Not really.
No, you won't.
Okay, hold on. All right, go.
The whole thing is every 5 minutes a new woman starts a business in America. So there's more than enough women for us to take to market. I will say that. And enlightened men. We love men. We bring the men in. It's funny, at our conference, Women's Leadership Live, we had 20 men attend. They were all CEOs of their company. We asked them why they came. We want to see how women think.
20 smart men. That's what you got.
Here's something you could try. Listening.
and they weren't sponsors. They actually bought a ticket and came to hear how women think about in the marketplace and how they run their businesses and how they support one another. And Debbie can talk about that, because her whole life's been about service.
So we did the events, but Chris, I think one of the things we wanted to share was that we have this beautiful magazine where women create work with Joe Packham, who's been in the industry for, 30 plus years, right? She has 4 magazines. So we did, but she's only 30. No, just kidding. So Women Working for a Stronger America. And so we had a national tour around this whole magazine, and it's filled with women. Kathy Bissell with Bissell Pet Foundations in here. We have a race car driver. We got some amazing women in here. We had this whole tour planned. The whole year we were going to go around the country with this magazine, promoting the women. Well, we had 3 goals: promoting women in the magazine, promoting the magazine, and the 100th year anniversary of the 19th Amendment, women's right to vote.
Women's suffrage.
Stacey always comes with props. Here I am with the green screen and nothing. Anyway, I'm focused on the magazine. So we did the first week in Dallas, had the 4 days, amazing city group, and just SMU and some amazing places we went to speak at. COVID hits on Friday and literally shut us down. We had cities around the country that we had to just totally, well, first we put on hold and postpone, thinking, 30 days, whatever. No. Finally, we ended up having to cancel those events because we realized we were just so far out that we couldn't do it. So we still have plans to do some things because this is such an amazing magazine, but that's on hold.
Where do people get it?
They get it literally every place you can think of, Carrie. Barnes & Noble, Brookshire's, Books A Million, Whole Foods.
Because I don't have one, Debbie.
Target.
You need to get it. And for your listeners listening,
yes.
If you pay for just the freight, the shipping and handling, it's a $20 magazine. We'll send it out to all your people. But I don't know how you can take that, Chris, information from people. But it's an amazing, the pictures just alone, but the stories of women and how they've gotten ahead and what they've done in their lifetime, from politics to religion to everything you don't want to talk around your Thanksgiving tables in here.
It makes life interesting.
Right. It's real. I mean, look, just artisans. Look how beautiful the art is on this woman. She's just like incredible.
Is that Sharon?
Yeah, Sharon. There's so many things that we want women to see. Oh, I love this gal, Amy Robb. I mean, just it's incredible.
I was waiting for you to be like,
look at her. Wow, this is sexy. Very synthetic.
This is the
way you roll.
All right, so listen.
Athletic wear line that you can carry a firearm in.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you never know when you're playing basketball and you got to carry.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Hey, license to carry. You guys are well, Debbie. You're in Texas. You know what that's all about.
Yeah. We sorry. So Chris, go ahead. So sorry.
All right. So listen. Carrie said you could DM her on Twitter, but there's another way to get this. If you subscribe to our awesome newsletter, backpackshow.substack.com, we might even, for a few, because there's not enough of you here yet to make this scary, I'll pay the shipping so that these people can get some magazines.
Nice.
If you sub to my newsletter, you get that. I will handle the shipping.
That is more than a friendship offer.
Can you send that medium? Can you send that though? 3-week one where it rides in the back.
It's a very good one. I think it's $1.50 to mail. It's all. It's not bad. Yeah.
Kip wants to know, present and post-COVID, do you see a resurgence in print media?
Oh.
Actually, that's a great question. And this is a fascinating story because Jo Packham, as we said, she's got 4 magazines. She's been doing this for 30 plus years. Her magazines are the top sellers in Barnes & Noble. They're not inexpensive, but here's the key. There's no ads. They're all stories. There's no ads. And so I think
people won't take no advertising dollars.
I think people want to hold something in their hands. And so I think that print, this is a coffee table book. They really are. They're beautiful. People save her magazines. And so I think for people to be able to have print to the question is I do think there's a resurgence for it in some areas, but she's got a huge following. And again, when you ask about who carries it, Carrie, probably 50 different organizations, if you will, carry the magazine. Target.
That's impressive.
Think of, yeah.
That's impressive.
This woman owns a train, her own train line.
Yeah,
I mean, men and women love the stories in these magazines. But we of course we published thousands. Yeah. Because remember, we had an annual national tour from March to December. So plus, this was the #1 selling magazine that Where Women Create Work magazine that Jo had ever done because she got it in to over 1,200 brick and mortars. We got it in every grocery store chain from Whole Foods to any grocery store you can think of in any part of the country. It went nationwide. It was the first time retailers said, "Oh my gosh, this speaks to women about their strengths and how they have done things in America." So we were really proud to launch that in March. Oh my gosh, fiercely proud. Yeah, incredible national sponsors, like some of the biggest names you've ever thought of. I mean, if you just go to Women's Leadership Live and you look at the tour information, look at all the sponsors, there were hundreds of thousands of sponsors.
Yeah.
We had someone from NASCAR on who was just saying that actually this is like a really good time for their sponsors. They have this was Tad Geschichter, and their sponsors are like Clorox, Kroger, like all these
Kimberly
brands.
Clark, all the toilet paper.
They're doing real well right now. Yeah, so they were looking at like, what do we do? People already want the stuff, buy the stuff, they're sold out. Like now you're moving on to like brand affinity and brand admiration type plays instead of just that like basic level buy stuff.
That's big.
It's brand loving. Yeah. For sure.
I want to pause just for a minute. I want to shout out the fact that so many people who are here live watching this show are themselves incredible, successful women business owners. Carol Alalouf and Mish. I don't know if I know how to pronounce your name. Is it Skamin? They have a business together, and Debbie, you'll double love this. It's called Reading Rewards. It's basically a much better way to do book reading programs at schools. And it's a lot more digitized and mechanized and all that sort of a thing. I forget who I saw. Laura was here. Deb Allison Lee just got some award of some kind. I forget what the actual name was, but she's like the 25 most super important people in the world or something.
She's going to even make that top 50.
So y'all connect with us so we can continue the conversations. That's awesome.
So you got a lot of nice ladies.
Amazing following. That's awesome.
Skamene.
Oh, wow.
Skamene. I'm learning my names today.
That's
Skamene.
They also wanted to know how much shipping is to Canada.
About
more. That's
$86.
Yeah.
Carol will drive down and get them.
She's going to move to America so we don't have to pay our postage. It's all good. We welcome you. Open board.
And we'll be supporting the United States Postal Service on the way, you know.
Good. There you go.
Michelle says, thanks for the shout out. Michelle Skamene.
Skamene.
Love the name. Beautiful. Love the
Leave
name.
it to our academia brilliant co-hosts to give us the pronunciation.
Yes.
Oh, it wasn't me. That was in the comments.
It was
Our
in the
great
comments.
community
That's all
in the
we got.
comments. So if you want the magazine, subscribe to the newsletter and Chris will send it to you.
I will handle the mailing and everything like that. It'll be a beautiful day, like that awful U2 song. Okay.
Some people really like that.
Shush.
The CEO at my company listens to it every day, just so you know.
Yeah, we had that conversation. I told him I kind of got it overplayed at a corporate event where they were announcing a new logo for the company, and they just kept playing this U2 song over and over and over again. Like that would somehow really pump us up.
Carol wants to come get him.
Any song 14 times in a row doesn't pump you up. Next topic. Hey, so when you do these projects, what like you named in that magazine people who are race car drivers, train owners, and that sort of a thing. Who's the actual kind of regular person who is a perfect ideal person for Women's Leadership Live? And I know there's a span, but give me some sense of, who walks through that door right now.
I think it's for women that accept and appreciate who they are, know their branding, have some idea. It's just not a napkin idea. They've really put some thought into it and maybe some brawl with a little bit of their own skin, which is their finances into it. And they're passionate about what they want to bring as their brand and their story to life, but they know they can't do it alone. None of us can do anything alone. We all need the support of one another. And we engage other people that have a skill set or an expertise or experience with value that will help them. And Debbie does this incredible questionnaire that we first send out to women when they become a part of our membership, which is $188. It's like it doesn't break the bank. It's not a lot of money, but we give you, there's private Facebook groups and we have webinars and experienced contributors. We have Hannah Fernandez. She's a financial services guru. She's actually the first woman in Chicago ever to run the SCORE office there. And she has a company called Access to Capital. We have Allie Meng, who's out of Canada. Toronto. She's our media trainer. She and I have been on shopping television for years. She's also a well-known actress and knows everything about how to look and be your authentic self in front of the camera. We have Shemaine Nugent, who's Ted Nugent's
wife, Chris, you know.
She helps with healthy lifestyles. Her whole thing is about we can be right in our mind, but if we're not right in our body, what are we here for? We've got Kimberly DeShields Spencer, who's a branding and marketing expert. She's a guru when it comes to putting your brand to the street and people getting it without having to what's your brand do. She really makes the name is the claim. You get what your company values should be and philosophy. Amy Stewart's Legal Services. She's the only Dallas-run all-female law office in Dallas, Texas. Great legal services. We got Debbie with the social media and digital, and I come in with product development, concept to completion. What we do is we take a person, and you don't have to be successful women already in our magazine that have already made it. We want women that need our help and our support. So each of those groups give you for a better word, a package for what your needs are. You don't hire the legal team from our friends and family rate if you need trademarking or you need something like that, you just get that. You don't need the other legal services. So it's kind of a place at Women's Leadership Live where you can come and just use all the skill sets of the people we've met over the years. And Debbie's
Debbie
has vetted. We've done background checks. We've done about everything.
Wow. Did you do background checks on us before you came?
Yeah, we did. And you really look great when you were pole dancing. No, just kidding, Carrie.
You shouldn't tell them about my pole dancing experiences.
And you always put that guitar right in the right place for coverage.
Exactly.
I don't know how
You don't know how hard that is. Most people don't appreciate it. It's an art.
It is.
It's an art.
By the way,
There's
point out that Paul is here from Wine of the Month Club, one of the most legendary mail order projects in the universe of delivering wine.
Yeah,
And
people are having quite the conversation in the comments about yesterday's guest, saying the energy level today must be from everyone drinking fresh roasted coffee from yesterday's guest. And Deb agrees. Some people say wine would be an okay substitute.
5 o'clock somewhere.
Deb seems fine with that. Oh, great. Carol's like, oh, Carrie has another skill. Thanks, Carol. Buddy. I have many skills.
evidently.
Not all on LinkedIn.
That's good.
Yeah, how many can you fit on LinkedIn?
For skills, 50.
50? Okay.
I like that Debbie actually knows the answer though.
I'll pare down.
Yeah.
Oh, also, Michelle's name is Skamane. Skamane. Evidently, Carol's taking a little bit of heat on the fact that she gave us bad information. So,
which is almost like a word. The Korean word for thank you is chamane. So it's very similar.
Like thank you for pole dancing.
Thank you for pole dancing, chamane, Carrie. Please don't anyone show up right now.
This is exactly what people show up. This is exactly
it. Mean? That's in their Google search. As soon as they heard that, they came right to the show.
Really? Oh my God.
That's a really good point. Seriously.
I want to play interviewer for a second.
Uh-oh.
Debbie, all I've ever heard for 6 years is Chris Brogan.
You have.
You have to tell all the people that already know, love, and trust him, that would listen. They know all the facts. But all the girlfriends that we might have brought in from Women's Leadership Live, why is Chris Brogan so important to you?
I love that question. We didn't even plan this. Seriously. We didn't plan this. Okay, so, and this is true. Anyone who knows this. So Chris's book, The Free Shall Inherit the Earth, I read this years ago. And being a formal principal, the reason that book attracted my attention so much is because when I was a principal, this was a few years back, when I was a principal, there were different groups, if you will, of kids in school. They all had the names. You had the ropers, you had the different groups, the nerds, the jocks, etc. Well, his book is about the free shall inherit the earth. Sometimes the people we don't think are the ones who are going to go on and take it to the next level. And because of technology, we can do that. And so that book resonated with me so much. And Stacey will tell you, when someone asks me what book, that book is always the top of my list. You have no idea, Chris, how many times I talk about you in that book, because you really hit something that sometimes the very people we don't give enough credit to are the ones, because of technology and things, that can come and really make a difference in this world. And my gosh, the last 3 months, we've seen that with COVID. If it wasn't for technology and digital space, we would be in one heck of a place right now. So yeah, if you haven't gotten this book, The Free Shall Inherit the Earth, and Chris, I know you're working on a new book.
Oh. I am. Well, that's an interesting segue, because I also have to point out that Coach Shelley Johnston is here from Your Epic Life. You can go to yourepiclife.com. And one of the things that's kind of lovely is that, another strong female leadership voice in the world. And what I love is that we seem to, for reasons I haven't quite figured out, completely luckily attract smart women, business people. A girl that I went to school with in 6th grade, who my grandmother thought I should marry, watched the show yesterday, and she was talking about she wants to possibly, start a new business, a distillery type business. So having the first female master distiller since Prohibition on didn't hurt. So how great to bring you both in and all the smart women that we attract to this show, just to have the chance for you to connect. And, not another bad reason why to have Carrie as a co-host, because yet another super smart woman that I get the chance to interact with.
Some people are falling apart, though, their relationships with other women.
I'm seeing this.
Michelle says, I'm dying right now. I'm unfriending Carol. Deb's like, give her another chance, is the voice of reason. Carol's like, come back. And then Michelle says, nope.
But, blocked. I can turn that into a great question insofar as, there's clearly a slightly different vibrational pattern going on between Stacey World and Debbie. So how does that partnership work? Because you guys are clearly super friends, but you clearly have different energy that you bring to this game.
Well, this is the funny part. When Linda was on stage with us and when we're at activities, even like we were in Texas, God, I can't believe it was March, but when we first started the tour, Linda always sits between Stacey and I for a reason.
Okay.
Of course she does.
Pictures.
She was in the wrestling ring.
Yeah, she has hands like this, and they're covered, and then we're on each side. And all she has to do is the look. She looks up with the CEO look and is like, "Okay, stop. That's enough." Because Stacey will go off on some tangent. And actually, when Linda was with us, I'm more like Stacey, but now that Linda's not here, I have to be the one that pulls us back a little bit. So
I don't know. Chris has a look. He could whip that out.
The way I learned it, when you said about Linda being between you for a minute, my Grammy used to have this magical power that right behind your elbow here, there's some real soft stuff. And, she can get right in there, and she would keep me so in line walking around at like museums and things.
Well, that's our Linda. That's what she does, right, Stace?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And when she went to be in the cabinet, and what was so great about all her successes, taking WWE public, I mean, she was the brains behind, her and Vince did everything together always, but he really handled the storylines, the plots, the talent. She was the CEO. Right. And most people don't even know that she was that for 30 years. She took all the licensing. She did all the contracts. She did all the financing. She took the company public. She went and talked to every banker at Wall Street to make sure, when they went IPO, it was a huge deal. What she never forgot was, as much as she was that brainiac side, she was also the people side. Yeah. So when you see the three of us together, it's not like any other connection I've ever had with women. I wish I had more of these connections where everybody is in their own field house. There's not a box around any of us. We kicked that damn box away a long time ago. But Linda kind of lets us all be who we are. And you don't meet many women like that. So when we say our girlfriend, Linda McMahon, was one of 4 women of 24 people in the United States cabinet, it's such an honor for her to have gone and done that for 2 years. She was the head of the SBA. She's the only SBA administrator ever to travel to every state before her, and meet with people no matter what side of the aisle you're on. She did never care about politics. It was about getting the small business prosperous. And she did so much during all the storms and with FEMA and getting businesses back to work. We got to watch her on the front line. We got to be there the day that she had her interview. Remember, Debbie?
Yes, in the Senate. Yeah,
the Senate interview, and like how the process of that works. We were there with Triple H and Stephanie, her daughter. So it wasn't
Triple H is my pretend boyfriend. You can tell her that. He doesn't know. He couldn't care less, but he is. Yep.
They are the coolest people in the world.
The only sign I ever made for like a WWE event was for Linda, and I didn't get to go because I was like a lawyer, right? So practicing and stuff. But there was an event, and so I made a sign in the plot line on stage, not for real, obviously. It was that Vince was cheating on her or something, and so that was the plot line. And so I made a thing that said, "Linda, kick him in the junk," and gave it to one of my friends, and she held it up because I couldn't go.
When we went to WrestleMania 2 years ago, we didn't get to go this year, obviously, for COVID. We sent Chris some goodies. Linda and Stacey and I got some goodies. There we go.
You can't see me.
Because we were at WrestleMania with Linda, and 2 things I want to tell you. So first of all, they do an incredible sponsor Saturday where all their sponsors come to a private meeting. It's about 150 people, and they go through their whole business plan, the whole model for the year. Well, afterwards, there's goodie bags. And so Stacey and I are together. And of course, you can imagine the energy in that room of what's going on. And so
we love it.
We went into Linda. We said, "Linda, we've got to get a goodie bag for Chris. You think we can get an extra one?" Because we got ours, right? She goes, "I think we can get as many as we want." And so she walked in and take the bags. So Chris, your bag, actually, your goodies came from Linda McMahon, picking it up off the table.
My gosh.
So that's one story. The other one is when I first met Linda, that day that Stacey and I went to New York to meet with Linda, Ashley, Connecticut. I said, "My God, Linda, if you could ever let me meet The Rock, that would be like the best day of my life." And she goes, "Well, hon, that's probably not going to happen, but I'll remember." So WrestleMania in Dallas, we get here. we go in with security and all the people with Linda to the, the suite and everything. And she goes, oh, wait a minute, I want to go downstairs underneath the A&TT Stadium. So we're walking around, just Linda and security, Stacey and David, me and Phil, and another couple, her sister and brother-in-law. And so we're walking around. She goes, oh, just a second, I got to go in here. So we were standing outside talking. Nobody's down here because it's the bottom, right? All of a sudden,
AT&T, the Cowboy Stadium.
Underneath, all of a sudden, we see this huge guy pick Linda up in the doorway. We realize it's The Rock. He comes out and he goes, she says, I want to introduce you to my friends. And she goes, now this one might faint. He turns around, God's truth. I just realized we're on camera. I'm talking about this. Anyway, he turns around and he says, I'll catch you. Oh my God. This is the nicest, sweetest person you would ever want him to be. His teeth are as strong as you think. His muscles are as strong as you think. He is the true nicest person. And security told us later that the only person, because everybody in the room, in the arena, wanted to see The Rock. The only person he let in the room was Linda and us. So she made that possible. We all got to meet The Rock, right, Stacey?
Wow.
Full experience.
If you want to send me a goodie bag, it's really big and it just has Triple H in it. I think one thing is a small ask.
We could ask him for a signed photograph. I bet he would do that, don't you, Stacey?
Yes, he will do it for Carrie. He loves brilliant and beautiful women. So
make
that happen.
Yeah. So sorry, I just had to share that because it was an incredible experience. Yeah.
So it's funny. I was sitting here thinking about a million things. I get so excited by your Rock story that John Cena took his shirt off. So,
Deb said she would faint.
I don't know what that means.
Faint if she met The Rock.
So here's a weird John Cena story, by the way. So exactly where I'm sitting right now, about 150 footsteps this way, is a little tiny gym that he works out in every time he comes to Boston because he's from Newbury area, which is right up 2 towns away.
That's right.
So this little gym is run by this. Well, now he's not running it anymore, but this Marine who served in a couple of interesting wars, and a nice older guy named Dave Knock. And the family's kind of since run the gym now, but that's where he'd go and work. So it's funny, just there's always these connections, and that's going to leads to a question/comment or a chance to talk a little bit more. Stacey mentioned the Golden Rolodex. Debbie is a LinkedIn professional. You've got to tell us this because people don't believe it until you hear it. That is the thing. Connection, spreading the love, saying so many nice things about Linda because she can't be here to talk to herself about herself or whatever. This is what it means to run good business. Is that what you share with your people at your women's leadership?
It's always about the relationships, and Stacey and I take great pride in the fact that we have a group on Facebook, and I think we've got like 1,000 some women. But those women, we know those women. They know us and we know them. So we always talk about numbers are great, but what really matters is, do you know each other? Just like Chris. Chris, I have had such a strong relationship with you since I met you because you are about community. You are about relationships. Right. And then we meet Carrie and it's the same thing. So at the end of the day, it's not about who, it's about how you know them. And so Stacey and I are always promoting that it's about the relationship first. And on social media, it's always about building that relationship. We have physical space and we have digital space, AKA today. So relationships, number one. There you go. Stacey sees she got the props. She has the props. And
we really believe that we all should be a family. We all want the same things for each other. We all want our communities to prosper. We all want our businesses to prosper, and we want our families to be safe and healthy. So we all want the same thing. So it's very easy to be collective and collaborate. And Debbie, no one makes it easier than Debbie Saviano, because she does make sure that we all experience the same kind of connectiveness.
Oh, well, like I said, media, physical, digital space, we can do that. We couldn't do it before. I always talk about this, when you first heard about online dating, I'm sorry, but I thought that was really weird. Okay. But then when I speak, I say this to the group, I say in the room, I said, how many of you either know someone or yourself personally met someone online? Half the room raises their hand. What if your soulmate doesn't live next door? What if they live across the country?
No, Triple H is so far away.
Exactly. So you can meet them, but you couldn't meet them before. So I'm a huge advocate of digital space. That's why people like me to speak, because we're not going to talk about ages here, but there's no doubt I'm by far the oldest in the room. Because of that, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And that's kind of what people look at when they see me speak, because it's easy to get a 30-year-old talk about digital space, but get someone add some zeros. Well, not add zeros. That doesn't make sense. Add more numbers to it. Then you get someone who's been there, done that. But it took me 2 years. And Chris, you were one of the first people that I listened to on David Simon Garland's podcast.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's where I first.
So how long ago was that, Debbie?
I think about 8 or 10 years ago.
It was a long time ago. There's a funny story about that, by the way. So David invites me. He had a video show that he was paying money to put on local St. Louis area TV. So he invites me by saying, I run a show on ABC TV or something like that. And he says, you ought to come and be on my show. Come to my studio. Well, his studio, I know, Carrie, I see it. His studio is also his loft apartment. So I show up there and there's a camera and there's a few people, because if there weren't, I would have turned right around expecting maybe a little something else is going on there. Because I open the door and the first thing I see is his bed. The loft's a loft, and I'm like, I don't know what kind of photo shoot we're doing here, brother, but I like ladies. Good for you, David. Looking for the pole. So I said, that's the top
looking for the pole.
Top 3 sketchiest interviews I've ever been invited to, but he's a sweetheart and he did good stuff. Listen, we gotta leave here at some point because we've changed our show up a little bit. But what I do for folks is, or beg them to do, is I really, really, really want to know. We have this thing called the backpack. That's the next book coming out for me. And the question is, what goes in that backpack for coming years and whatnot. So
Michelle forgave Carol.
Friendships are made.
That's right here.
Fred thinks I should yellow card that, I guess. He likes to hold a grudge. Fred.
No.
We haven't seen a yellow card today.
So here's what goes in the backpack for me. It's a story, collaboration, autonomy, a new word for Stacey, Manchu, which means one family. It's the family we choose, not just the family we have around us, and execution. Those are mine. Individually, what are you going to put in the backpack for people so that they can thrive and survive in the next 5 years?
Guess what I'm going to put in?
What?
Paul.
Triple H. Sorry. Go ahead.
Stacey, you go first. Stacey, go first.
I think I would put in truth. I think we're about ready to see a great awakening, and it's going to be a fresh start for a lot of us in this world. And I think we just have to be open-minded and just look for truth.
That's awesome. I had 2, and I keep going back and forth. One's a playlist because music's so important when you're working, but I'm going to go with rose-colored glasses, kind of. And the reason for that is because when you wear rose-colored glasses, to Stacey's point, there's so much negativity being spread around the world, unfortunately. And so I think to be positive and look at the bright side and the glass half full, I think we need to look at positive. I always tell people, don't be negative on social. Go in the bathroom, have a fit, but don't do it on social media, because we should be spreading positivity and love. And so mine's rose-colored glasses. So trust the rose-colored glasses.
Yes. Choices, connections, consequences, convictions. It all has to be the way you look at things in your mindset.
Wow. So we have had all the energy in the world. I think, Deb Lee says today's backpack for her is energy and positivity.
Oh, nice.
Yay!
Nice.
That's what we get. And Deb, who loves wine, be happy that we have a glass.
Yes.
And John, who my video game guy, by the way, says, I love the idea of a music playlist from Debbie, because that works out rather well. And boo negativity from my man Kip. So what an incredible, incredible good way to do it. One of the things that I've always asked my grandmother is, like,